Today you join myself and Nigel Horton at Waterloo Station. It's post-work. We're actually en route to a concert, but we're just catching up quickly on business over a beer. And I thought what a great time this would be to do a top tech tip. So in this edition, we want to highlight one of the most groundbreaking tools to hit the software development world in years. Albeit it's very, very techy, so not for all listeners, but it can still be utilised by most for like menial tasks, as well as complicated day-to-day workloads. Introducing Claude AI. Claude AI is an advanced conversational assistant and family of large language models built by Anthropic to help with writing, coding, complex reasoning, and document analysis. It's got some core features and capabilities: natural conversation, chat naturally to solve problems, brainstorm ideas, or learn new topics. It's got long context and analysis, so you can read, summarize, and analyze huge text files or massive PDF documents really quickly. It generates views and edits code snippets, documents, or websites side by side in real time. It's built using safety principles designed to keep responses helpful, honest, and harmless. So really, this whole AI is all about saving you time in the right kind of topics that you could be dealing with, be it software development or analysing documentation or data, really, okay? So, best thing to do was to bring in Nige to talk about this, because Nige, as your role, can you just remind people what your role is?
So I'm a senior software developer for a large multinational.
So tell us, when was the first time you heard about Claude, and when did you start to utilise it?
So obviously I've been following kind of the broad AI spectrum for a while, and I've known about AI for a long time before it became popular, you know.
Yeah.
Kind of probably the back end of last year maybe, or the start of this year I really started paying attention to Claude.
So that just shows how fast moving AI language models are, because that's fairly recent. Okay?
Yeah, they've only really become really good quality models in the last 6 to 12 months, I'd say.
So you were quite sceptical at first, and why were you sceptical about using such?
Yeah, I'd say it was a healthy skepticism, and actually I'd say I'm still skeptical even though I'm using it, because I'm viewing it as the thing that it is, which is a tool. If you view it as kind of a replacement for yourself, or as a person, which is even worse, that you're dealing with.
We're going to come on to that, definitely. That is one thing to feature on.
But a lot of the skepticism was about the claims, and a lot of those claims are still going on, the marketing claims about how powerful and dangerous the models are, and a lot of it's nonsense and needs a pinch of salt. But they are now, at this point in time, they are phenomenal if you're using the frontier models or the latest models,
So it's now very much part of your day-to-day, and has become in the last 12 months, like many others. Where has it become most useful to you? How do you use Claude?
So, at first, I wasn't sure what the best way to use it was. You've got to kind of find your feet with it, because it is conversational, like you said. And part of the difficulty with that is in knowing how to get it to do what you want it to do. And I think this is part of the big problem everyone has, If you read online about it, everyone's telling you how you've got to be a prompt engineer and all this other stuff. And actually, it's really not as complicated as that. And it's really all about the context you give it. And the more quality context you give it, the better your end result's going to be. Or knowing how to actually have that conversation in turn to develop the context with it. So getting it to ask you questions about things that are uncertain.
Honing itself in.
Yeah, basically. So, for me, sometimes I get it to do really simple tasks like just writing extra tests, That's a really quick thing it can do. It can read your code base and it can look for loopholes where or kind of problems that you haven't identified yourself, and it can write the tests for them and then fix them. Or if you get a bug report come in, it can not only fix the bug, it will write the test to check that bug won't appear again. And that, writing tests for software developers, probably one of the biggest time sinks that you can have, getting that right and making sure your tests cover all the edge cases. So it's phenomenal for that. But even if you set it larger tasks, like I've had it recently read the entire code base and work out exactly what typings we can put in place. And if you don't know what typings are, it's basically a way of adding kind of metadata around your code so that when it's compiled, it understands what those things are in the code. So whether it's a piece of text or a number, it's clearly identified, and that stops you having errors when the code is actually running in production, which is a great thing.
Fantastic, and that just shows how useful it is to you as a day-to-day tool now. And obviously in software development, there's huge budget for AI now, or budgets will be coming in. Well, it's essential part of day-to-day.
I think I'm actually really fortunate, because my company's large enough that they can throw money at AI, and we've got access to the latest frontier models, which a lot of people wouldn't have access to, So, we're playing with the likes of Fable 5 and things like that, which you've probably heard of, but most people probably
experienced because they haven't had that budget,
or because it costs too much for them to use and pay for themselves, but that's the beauty of it. But what I've learned from that is that actually you don't really necessarily need the frontier models, because even lower end models
still
be capable, and they're still
for the basic tasks.
Really good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, scalability, it means you end up paying for that accessibility, but you end up delivering far faster.
Exactly.
And far quicker.
Exactly.
You get to your solution. It just shows. Now, you also did say you're still very sceptical about these AIs, and unfortunately it's causing a bit of a problem in the lower end of the market, and you said you can forecast in years to come that roles for junior developers are decreasing because AI is filling that market.
I think that's the case, and I think what I'm seeing is that the seniors who are already capable can harness the AI really well and use it as a tool, but for a junior, it's doing the work for them. They're not really learning the trade, and they're either being replaced by it, or that they're relying too heavily on it, and they're not using their own cognition, and they're not taking their own initiative, and they don't have the critical thinking then to be able to
those
go
are the
further.
Foundations of that role.
Exactly, they're the foundations of the role of a software developer. And if you can't question the AI's output effectively,
you're going to. Are you?
Exactly. That's one of the areas where in programming you're lucky in that if the AI hallucinates and you know what you're doing, you can spot it straight away, because what you end up with at the end of the day is declarative code, and that code can be reasoned with. It's not, an estimate on what's going on,
Real life knowledge and experience counts for so much still within development, of course.
Absolutely. So the seniors are thriving with it, and the lower echelons, the juniors and things like that, are kind of struggling. So we'll see what the market has to say about it in the next 10 years, I suppose.
Time will tell, that's for sure. So can you see how non-developers, because obviously a wide range of people will be listening to this, Claude as an AI, what else would you use that for? What other uses have you used it for outside of software development? Or could you name some?
Well, to be honest, depending on what AI you use, what provider or model that you end up using, you've got a lot of scope for what you can do with it. Programming's one thing, but there's plenty of scope in other areas. Claude itself has a really high use rate for legal. It's got an entire kind of training set for legal data, and it's being used heavily for that as well. But even the more general models, go onto Google and go onto its AI chat and ask it questions, and as long as you're prepared to examine the answer and make sure it's not hallucinating, which it does, you can get really useful information out of it. It's really good at pooling together data from many sources and giving you a concise response that kind of summarizes that. Sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's not, but that's the danger you see in having these models that aren't cutting edge, but they're still offering them for free. But I think the future is going to be in open models, because what the Chinese are doing, basically taking all the models produced by people like Anthropic and OpenAI, distilling them and producing their own version, and then giving it out either cheap or free, is phenomenal. And it's going to improve adoption, it's going to make it accessible for more people, it's going to stop it becoming just corporate overlords that rule AI and no one else can have access to it.
AI warfare, isn't it? Fighting back.
Exactly.
But then again, do you worry about what China could be doing with information and how they're utilising AI?
There is a risk there, obviously, but with these open models, the great thing is they can be retrained, and you can, kind of put mechanisms in place to account for that in a lot of cases. So at the end of the day, having more availability and more opportunity to use them is only going to reduce the cost and improve the competition, so that everyone gets access to it. So I think if the world can adopt it in a safe, regulated way, it's going to be beneficial for humanity. But the problem we're seeing is we're not having that regulation at the moment.
No, there's still lots of people due to adopt AI into their daily tasks, and I get asked a lot by clients, what is your opinion on AI and how's it being used? Well, as a graphic designer to some extent, obviously graphic design is being heavily manipulated by AI now, and tasks are becoming faster, but realistically you're still going to need that designer. It's just their output of speed. The AI is enabling speed and production output, which is fantastic, but you still need that knowledge and expertise initially to guide it in the right way. So it's that I totally agree that where these software companies, Adobe, incorporates AI within their software, that's where the real wins are to be had.
Well, that's it, right? I mean, that's kind of the trade-off, and you're going to get AI slop anywhere, whether it's in generative AI for creatives, doing art or doing marketing or whatever they're doing, versus even developers. But that's why you need to have good quality controls and gates around it. If I produce sloppy code, or AI produces it on my behalf, I still have to have it put up for peer review and have it reviewed by people that work in my organisation to say, that's actually really good and it can go to production. And I think those same quality gates should apply whatever your profession and however you use it. Have someone that's going to check the output, make sure it meets standards and it is high quality, and that's the answer.
Well, I think you've summarised that perfectly, wrapped that up, so thanks very much, and we've got a concert to get up to, so
cheers.
Let's do it. Cheers.
You're listening to the Mindful Connections podcast from Understood Media.
Hosted by Ollie Martin, hear that cut, game-changing tools when you press that luck. Top tech tip, top tech tip, top tech tip, top tech. Guys on business, moving